Let's get to your top story. Attempts are being made to poach on the MLAs of Telangana's ruling party, and there have been 3 people who've been detained from a farmhouse while trying to cut a deal, is what the Telangana police has said. The targets were 4 MLAs of the Telangana Rashtra Samithi who had tipped off the police, and according to the police chief in an exclusive interview to NDTV, has said that sources have claimed that the deals could be to the tune of 100 crore rupees or even more, Priyanshi.
That's right, Divya. And this is being compared to what happened in Maharashtra, and then there were claims in Punjab and also in Delhi. In this specific case, they had offered 100 crore rupees to the key person. That's what the police is saying, plus 50 crore for each MLA. The MLAs had called the police saying that they were being lured and bribed to change parties. Let's just listen in to this exclusive conversation.
A big breaking news coming in from Hyderabad, where in fact we are getting reports of a very big deal, perhaps political kind of a conspiracy, it sounds like, where big amounts are being spoken about. I have with me Hyderabad's Police Commissioner, Mr. Stephen Raveendra. We are near that farmhouse where you have actually detained some people. There are 4 TRS MLAs, if I'm not mistaken, and also 3 others belonging to the central party BJP.
On the information provided by the TRS MLAs that they have been lured and bribed into changing parties, we have conducted a search here at Aziz Nagar near Moinabad. So what we have found is we found 3 people who have been trying to do this. One is Mr. Satish Sharma alias Ramchandra Bharati. Then the second one is one Simyaji Swamiji. He's from this Tirupati area. And the other man, Nandakumar, he's a businessman. He stays in Saru Nagar but has a business in Jubilee Hills. So these 3 people had come here. They were trying to lure and bribe these 4 MLAs into changing parties. Now we have initiated legal action on this, and we need to do a further probe. But the information was provided by the TRS MLAs themselves.
What is the background of these 3 people that you're talking about?
We need to ascertain who they are, but it will take time for us to know how they have, who they are and how they have come here. But all that we know is these people have also come to Hyderabad city on fake identities. That is what we have been able to ascertain as of now.
The names that seem familiar, they were something that was related to what happened in Maharashtra as well. These names sound a little familiar, have a ring of familiarity there.
No, I can't comment on that. I'm not sure about that aspect.
What is the kind of volume of money that we're talking about here, the scale of money? Was it a sting operation that was actually carried out?
We have searched the premises and we need to ascertain more details. We need to talk to them, question them as to why they are here and what is the purpose of their visit. In the days to come, we will be able to find out exactly the purpose of their visit and exactly what they intended to do.
From what you understand, is there a 100 crore rupees that people are talking about as a deal for this kind of a switchover to be done, 100 crores plus whatever? What was the deal? From what you understood as of now, I understand that there is much more investigation to be carried out.
Yes, there is definitely a large amount of money that was offered to them, but exactly I can't quote the figures because we need to do some questioning. Legal action is being initiated against them.
No cash or currency was seized per se. It is a deal that was spoken about.
Yes, yes.
We have Uma joining us on the phone line. Uma, what's the location of those 4 MLAs who are being bribed and to switch across from the KCR party?
Soon after this operation was carried out by the Hyderabad police, the police in fact saying that it was the TRS MLAs themselves who had provided the information And also, of course, as we heard Stephen Raveendra, the Cyberabad commissioner, telling NDTV exclusively last night that big amounts of money was offered. So while we are talking about 100 crores, 15 crores being seized perhaps, or that was the first tranche, none of that money, in fact, was shown to the media. So we have not seen really any currency being shown. And even to my question on whether currency was seized and how much was it, the Cyberabad commissioner not providing any direct answer, but only indicating that there is a big amount of money. The 4 MLAs that we are talking about, Rohit Reddy and 3 others who have been identified as Rega Kantarao, Guwala Balaraju and Biram Harshvardhan, all of them in fact went straight from the farmhouse which is in Moinabad area of the Cyberabad Police Commissionerate. They went straight to Pragati Bhavan, which is the official residence of Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao, until late night. In fact, we were there till 12:30 in the night, and that's when till then also they were still inside Pragati Bhavan, and we were being told that they are talking to the Chief Minister about the details of what had happened. So there are also other parallel developments that happened. So one was these 3 people, like we said, one is a seer identified as Satish Sharma, and Ramchandra Bharati is being called, and he is supposed to be a seer from Faridabad. The second one, of course, Simaya Julu, is supposed to be from Tirupati, a seer, and a third person, Nand Kumar, is a businessman from Hyderabad. And what has happened is on social media, a lot of photographs and videos being shared of Nand Kumar being seen with several, BJP leaders, Kishan Reddy as well, who is the Union Minister for Tourism and Culture, and he has in fact denied that a lot of people always are photographing with him, and that he has no control over, and that there is no such covert operation by his party in Telangana. The other side of it is that the TRS ministers, in fact, sat on a dharna on the Vijayawada highway late last night, alleging that the BJP is indulging in this kind of conspiracy, whereas the BJP leaders are dismissing all of it as drama enacted by KCR and the TRS party. They are calling it a drama and saying that this is being done because there is a Munugod bypole coming up, and that the TRS is wanting to divert the attention away from their situation in Munugod. So a lot of political kind of slang match happening between the 2 parties, the 2 main parties, the TRS and the BJP here in Telangana at this point in time. But what we were told was also that the investigators may put forth any kind of an evidence that may link these 3 people who are not directly related to the BJP, though the suggestion is that they were working on behalf of the BJP, that they would put out some names from the BJP that may link these 3 men who have allegedly tried to, lure the MLAs back to the BJP party. So that link, that evidence, perhaps if the police is able to present them, there would be more clarity in this entire issue. How exactly it came about and how did the police get wind of it, was saying that the TRS MLAs were the ones who had informed the police.
Right, the 4 MLAs that have now been taken to the Pragati Bhavan, the Chief Minister's official residence. We will keep tracking the story. Uma, thank you so much for getting us those details. Moving on, Russian President Vladimir Putin on Wednesday surveyed drills carried out by his nuclear-capable forces after Moscow pressed unfounded claims to India and China that Ukraine was developing a dirty bomb. The drills are the latest in a series of escalatory comments from Moscow as well as Putin, who observed the drills from a control room and the conflict that started way back in February in Ukraine that could now turn nuclear. Priyanshi.
That's right, Divya. It's been over 250 days of the war in Ukraine, and now Russian state-run media ran footage of a submarine crew that's preparing to launch a ballistic missile from the Barents Sea in the Arctic. The drills also included launching test missiles in the Russian Far East, and footage of the drills across state media came after Russia's defense minister pressed ahead with telephone calls to his counterparts globally, including Indian defense minister, claiming that Ukraine was developing a dirty bomb.
This is a conventional bomb laced with radioactive, biological or chemical materials. The defense minister, like Priyanshi mentioned, Rajnath Singh, has gone on to say that nuclear weapons should not be used in any side of the Ukraine war, while Joe Biden has warned that Vladimir Putin against making an incredibly serious mistake.
I just wanted to inform you that we have just asked for an AOB on the possibility of creation of dirty bomb in Ukraine by Ukrainian authorities. Ukraine has the capacity, Ukraine has all the reasons to do so, because we know that Zelensky regime wants to avoid, first of all, defeat. Secondly, wants to involve NATO for direct clash with Russia, which is very dangerous, and but which will be profitable for Zelensky regime to remain in power.
We're concerned when we hear this type of patently false disinformation emanating from the Kremlin. We know the Kremlin's track record when it comes to these types of claims. That's what, of course, what is the predicate, what ultimately undergirds our concern. We reject the transparently false allegation that Ukraine is preparing to use a dirty bomb on its own territory.
We have Maha joining us on the phone line. Very good morning, Maha. The US has rejected these claims, calling them transparently false, while Russia says it's an attempt by Ukraine to include NATO for a direct clash with Russia. Firstly, on what basis is Russia claiming that Ukraine is making a dirty bomb?
So Russia hasn't produced any evidence per se to say that there is this attempt by Ukraine to provocate or in fact escalate the situation with the use of dirty bomb. They are simply making this claim, and they have in fact yesterday called the Chinese and the Indian side as well. The Russian defense minister made a call to Rajnath Singh as well, in which he expressed concern over the provocation or through a dirty bomb. Now, a dirty bomb is basically a conventional bomb itself laced with radioactive, biological or chemical weapons. So, what they are suggesting is that this is an attempt by Ukraine to escalate the situation. Ukraine, on the other hand, and the West is saying that this is a false flag by Russia, a false flag operation. Basically, they are claiming that by making such claims, what Russia is planning to do is use nuclear weapons themselves. So this is a serious escalation in the nuclear rhetoric itself, Divya, and it is of major concern now. And that is why we have seen that India has also issued several advisories. Over the last 10 days, 3 advisories have been issued to its citizens, anyone who remains in Ukraine, to immediately leave the country. The last advisory came about 2 days ago, and you could sense the heightened concern in that advisory, because the advisory not just asked the citizens to leave, but also gave them contacts of embassies in the neighboring countries of Ukraine, just in case there is a requirement and they are not able to reach out to those in Ukraine itself. So there is now a palpable sense of fear and caution, and that is the reason that Rajnath Singh, in that call with General Shoigu, the Russian defense minister, yesterday, he clearly underlined that any use of nuclear weapons or nuclear option, basically, he said, should not be resorted to by any of the sides. So that message clearly being sent out by India, but as we can see, the West and the Russian side are in a constant engagement of words here. The NATO has also yesterday put out a statement saying that this is clearly a false flag operation that Russia is looking at. They reject the claim that Ukraine is building any dirty bomb or has in its possession a dirty bomb that they are going to be using.
Right, Maha, thanks very much for joining us. It's day 246 of the war, and now a nuclear threat also after Putin claimed that they'll use all that's necessary in this invasion. Now, meanwhile, a mass grave that's believed to contain bodies of 17 Ukrainian soldiers has been exhumed in Kharkiv by Ukrainian authorities. The grave is believed to contain the bodies of Ukrainian soldiers who were killed in fighting with Russian forces around 6 months ago. The grave had been left unmarked and the bodies had not been wrapped before being buried.
And with that, we're going to a very short break.
But lots more coming up on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Several people in Bhopal's Mother India colony have fallen sick, allegedly after being exposed to leakage from a chlorine gas plant. The district collector has said that water was being cleaned at Idgah water filter plant, and through the chlorine gas from cylinders, it leaked accidentally. 15 people have been admitted in a hospital, and the administration has claimed that the situation is under control as for now. Anurag Dwari joining us for more details on this. Anurag, what are the authorities saying, and will there be an impact on the water supply, and what are the health issues that the people there faced?
Yes, Priyanshu, it was the fear of 1984 gas tragedy in Bhopal, and that too in Idgah Hills, which was one of the areas worst hit in the 1984 gas tragedy, in which thousands were killed and lakhs more continue to suffer till date. On Wednesday evening, a gas leak from a water filtration plant was reported, which left people in the densely populated Mother India colony coughing, vomiting and gasping in panic. The officials have said that it was a chlorine leak and no one was seriously hurt, but 2 kids fainted and around 15 people were admitted to the nearby Hamidia hospital late in the night. Though the employees showed presence of mind and they used a crane to throw the around 1.5 ton cylinder carrying around 900 kgs of chlorine gas into the water tank. And the officials have also said the cylinder was corroded, and they tried to fix the leak at around 2:30 p.m. But around 5:30 and 6 p.m. the chlorine gas started to leak again, and the panic spread in the area as people suddenly felt their eyes were burning, a strong smell followed by cough, and many began vomiting when they tried to drink water. As soon as the alert went out, a fire brigade team rushed to the spot. They tried, instead of shutting off the cylinder, they immersed it in a 5 feet water tank, letting the gas dissipate in the water, and that is how the leak was brought under control within half an hour. And all those people who were admitted to Hamidia Hospital are, stable.
Right. Thank you so much, Anurag Dwari, for getting us those details. Moving on, in other news now, Aam Aadmi Party chief Arvind Kejriwal dropped a bombshell on Wednesday, calling for new currency notes with images of goddess Lakshmi and Ganesh. Well, this is on one side. The BJP has scoffed at this, calling it a political drama.
That's right, Divya. And politically, this is the latest in a series of moves that shows that how the Aam Aadmi Party and Mr. Kejriwal are both making majoritarianism the heart of their campaign, and especially, Divya, ahead of those crucial Gujarat elections that are due later this year.
भारतीय करेंसी के ऊपर एक तरफ गांधी जी की तस्वीर है, वो वैसे ही रहनी चाहिए, लेकिन दूसरी तरफ श्री गणेश जी की और श्री लक्ष्मी जी की तस्वीर भारतीय करेंसी के ऊपर लगाई जाए.
Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's solution for a falling rupee. You heard it right. Here he explains.
जैसा मैंने कहा कि हमें अपनी अर्थव्यवस्था को सुधारने के लिए, भारत को आगे तरक्की देने के लिए बहुत सारे एफर्ट्स की जरूरत है, लेकिन उसके साथ साथ देवी देवताओं के आशीर्वाद की भी जरूरत है.
A political slugfest soon after Chief Minister Kejriwal's Diwali special demand.
अरविंद केजरीवाल जी की वो वीडियो भी है, जनता उस वीडियो को देखे जिसमें केजरीवाल जी कह रहे थे कि मैं तो किसी भी कीमत पे उस राम मंदिर में आराधना करने, पूजा करने नहीं जाऊंगा, क्योंकि उस राम मंदिर में पूजा जो है वो भगवान प्राप्त नहीं करेंगे, भगवान स्वीकार नहीं करेंगे.
मुझे हैरानी है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी भारत की करेंसी पर महालक्ष्मी जी और गणेश जी की तस्वीरें लगाने का विरोध कर रही है. मुझे बहुत आश्चर्य है. बीजेपी पता नहीं क्यों विरोध करने पे उतर आई है इसका.
Kejriwal's move comes right ahead of the crucial Gujarat polls, where his party is looking to target the BJP's core voter base. As the Aam Aadmi Party tries to answer the BJP's hardcore Hindutva with its own paperback version, questions are being raised.
ये देखिए, हम लोग बार बार कहते थे ये बीजेपी और संघ की बी टीम है, तो जब चाहेंगे सेकुलर कार्ड खेल देगा, जब चाहेंगे धर्मनिरपेक्ष दिख जाएगा, जब चाहेंगे किसी न किसी धर्म की भावनाओं को भड़काएगा, जब चाहेंगे तो अपने आप को किसी जाति विशेष का बता देगा.
For the common man, reeling under inflationary pressures, Arvind Kejriwal's plea has failed to make much of an impression.
I think India is a diverse country and we respect all the religions, and जो already चलता आ रहा है, we should keep that and respect all the religions and not just try to get our votes by by targeting the larger audience.
I think it is absolutely baseless what the Arvind Kejriwal government is trying to come up with. We have much bigger issues to deal with.
अच्छा है, भगवान का फोटो रहना अच्छा है.
अच्छा, करेंसी पे भगवान का फोटो रहना अच्छा था. आप बोल रहे हैं कि केजरीवाल जी का ये अच्छा डिसीजन है.
As the rupee hits record lows, politics sinks lower. With inflation woes looming large, prices skyrocketing and cost of living rising sharply, the common man expects more reasoned and rational measures for a dwindling economy. With Anushree Pandey in Gujarat and Pooja Bhardwaj in Mumbai, and camera person Kanan Patra, Vedant for NDTV.
Now, as that report mentioned, a series of political attacks over this comment by Mr. Kejriwal, and the latest is sort of a meme, a photoshopped image of a 200 rupee note with an image of Maratha icon Chhatrapati Shivaji. That was BJP leader Nitesh Rane's contribution to the row over the Delhi Chief Minister's suggestion. And Nitesh Rane, who is an MLA from Kankavali, tweeted this photo and captioned saying, "This is perfect." So after this, a lot of reactions coming in from the opposition saying and coming up with new suggestions over what could be the next phase on our notes.
Welcome back. Now at least 3 people have been killed and 12 others have been injured in a blast at a chemical factory in Palghar in Maharashtra, Priyanshi.
Now the incident occurred on Wednesday afternoon in a unit that produces the gamma acid that's used in textile industry. The roof of the plant was also ripped off, Divya, due to the intensity of the blast, as you can see there. Moving on, after the recent targeted attacks on Kashmiri Pandits, at least 10 families of the community have left the Kashmir Valley and they've shifted to Jammu. Just recently, a Kashmiri Pandit was shot dead by terrorists outside his home on October 15th. And after this, these families are moving.
These families had stayed put in 2 villages in Shopian even at the height of the militancy in 1990, Priyanshi. But the targeted killings of the 2 Pandits in their village in the last 2 months has altered things forever. Our colleague Nazir gets us this report.
Locked and abandoned, these Kashmiri Pandit families have quietly left their homes after recent targeted attacks. Chaudhryganj village in Shopia is a ghost town, as the Pandit families who had never migrated after the eruption of militancy in 1990 have been forced to migrate. Ghulam Hassan Bagay, an ex-serviceman in the village, says fear has driven Pandits out of their homes. But before they left, Muslim neighbors helped them to harvest their apple produce.
Support किया है, सेब ला के दिया है उनको, मतलब जो भी काम था उनके घर में, मतलब सपोर्ट साथ भी गए 2-3 आदमी.
क्या बोल रहे थे आपको? डर है उनको?
डर है
वही बोल रहे थे.
हाँ, डर तो है. डर की मतलब नहीं है. कोई भरोसा है? भरोसा है कोई? ये जिधर किसी को पता नहीं कब क्या होगा.
On October 15, terrorists shot dead Puran Krishan Bhatt outside his home in the village. Despite the deployment of security forces in the village, the target killing struck fear among Pandit families. Of 8 Pandit families, only 1 woman is now left in the village to man her home at Chaudhryganj. The Muslim neighbors, who have always stood by Pandits in difficult times of militancy, say they feel helpless in this situation. Right now, they want to take care of their apple produce and dispatch them to Jammu.
तो आपको दुख है इनको क्यों भागना पड़ा?
हाँ, बहुत दुख, बहुत ज़्यादा.
In the neighboring Chotigam village, all the 3 Pandit families living there have migrated. On August 16th, Sunil Kumar Bhatt was killed and his brother injured in a targeted attack inside their apple orchard. The BJP says the aim behind targeted killings is to create fear.
कश्मीर में शोपियां से खबर है कि कुछ 10 कश्मीरी पंडित परिवारों ने वहां से पलायन किया गया है। हम सभी राजनीतिक जिसे कहते हैं पार्टियां, जम्मू कश्मीर का सभ्य समाज और विशेषकर कश्मीरी पंडित समुदाय, हम सब पे भी एक जिसे कहते हैं एक ड्यूटी ऑन पड़ती है। हम सब पे कर्तव्य है कि हम भी आतंकवाद के विरुद्ध सुदृढ़, सजग और सशक्त खड़े रहें।
Due to targeted attacks, 6,000 Kashmiri Pandit employees are not attending their duties for the last 6 months.
For last 30 years, Kashmiri Pandits living in this village braved all odds and stayed back even during peak of militancy. The recent target attacks has driven them out of their homes. This lock on this Pandit home reflects helplessness and fear despite security forces deployed right next to this home. In Shopian, Nazir Masoodi for NDTV.
Moving on, in Kerala, another episode in the series of the governor versus the Kerala chief minister. The governor, Arif Muhammad Khan, has written to the chief minister of Kerala, Pinarayi Vijayan, asking him to sack the finance minister, K.N. Balagopal. He is alleging that public settlements of the minister, according to the governor, has stoked fire of regionalism, provisionalism, and also challenged the constitutional convention.
Right, Priyanshi, a non-Keralite in this case, being appointed as a governor. The minister has gone on to say, reportedly making comments on that, saying the governor being a non-Keralite, challenging the state's left government over alleged irregularities. The left government is yet to react to the strong letter that's come out from the governor.
From politics now to a worrying new report from the British medical journal Lancet that has linked fossil fuel to 3.3 lakh deaths in India, which translate to one fossil fuel related death every 2 minutes. Nayantara Singh gets us the details.
The Lancet released a new report that gives us yet another irrefutable link between climate change and serious health problems. This time it says that 3,30,000 Indians died due to exposure to particulate matter released by the burning of fossil fuels in 2020. If that's too many numbers to process, let's look at it this way. The burning of fossil fuels caused one Indian to die every 2 minutes in 2020. India is second in the world in terms of fossil fuel related deaths and is behind only China. This report was written by 99 experts from all across the world in preparation for COP27 in Egypt, which is a very important climate change conference held by the UN. This report is crystal clear in its message and calls out the government's role in these deaths, urging them to stop giving these huge subsidies to the fossil fuel industry and adopt a more health-centric approach. In fact, 69 of the 86 countries that Lancet analyzed spent a whopping $400 billion on fossil fuel subsidies between 2019 and 2021. India alone spent $34 billion on subsidies to the fossil fuel industry in 2019. The report makes it clear that these subsidies are literally lethal and have led to the increase of diseases, poverty and death all across the world. The report analyzed a number of other things, but another significant takeaway is that these deaths increased due to heat exposure in India, and they were up by 55% since the 2000 to 2004 time frame. To put that into perspective, that's 167 billion hours of potential labor gone down the drain. The report warned that the world's collective failure to address climate change stems from political causes. Nayantara Singh for NDTV.
Now let's move to what's happening in China and what can be the impact of that on India. The removal of a former leader, the deposing of a close ally, the elevation of a cadre of yes-men, China's 20th Communist Party Congress has had it all. And by the end, Chinese President Xi Jinping had secured an even tighter grip on power, getting a record third term. That was the first time for a Chinese leader to get a third term. But what can India expect from a politically more powerful Xi Jinping? NDTV's Parmeshwar Bawa reports.
The removal of a former leader, the deposing of a close ally, the elevation of a cadre of yes-men. China's 20th Communist Party Congress had it all, and by the end, Chinese President Xi Jinping had secured an even tighter grip on power. The 20th Party Congress was defined not only by this, but also by the dramatic proceedings. Xi announced a shake-up in his 24-person Politburo, which for the first time since 1997 contains no women. This group, which is a centralized decision-making committee within the Chinese state, is headed by Xi Jinping now. It's also stacked with Xi's people. But what can India expect from a politically more powerful Xi? Well, geopolitical experts say very little is likely to change in the current state of India-China relations, with New Delhi insisting on a resolution of the situation in eastern Ladakh arising from China's transgressions of 2020, targeting Chinese economic interests in its jurisdiction, and increasing political and security cooperation with the US.
This as the Chinese party state, for its part, insists on separating other aspects of the Sino-Indian relationship from the border situation and views the United States of America as its principal challenger and an existential threat. The latter aspect has led to a tendency under Xi to view India as possessing no views or agency of its own and essentially then doing the US's bidding.
This approach suits the CPC worldview, because it would otherwise have to contend with India in Asia first before it could fully turn its attention to the US. That, however, would complicate the Chinese narrative of being the latter's successor as the global superpower. But analysts argue that a more powerful Xi, focused on the threat from the US but at the same time constrained from acting directly against it, could possibly target those he sees as US proxies. This includes India, Taiwan and Japan, among others.
There are both opportunities and challenges for India. Analysts highlight the West may finally understand that they need to diversify their investments and markets, opening real possibilities for India in technology collaborations as well as supply chains. Yet, geopolitical experts assert we should be aware that as the global economic war turns ugly, our performing sectors ranging from electronics to pharmaceuticals to automobiles are still heavily dependent on Chinese imports, and they may use economic coercion to force choices upon us. Parmeshwar Bava for NDTV.
And it was the first day of the first Indian origin UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. And among the highlights, he defended the reappointment of Indian origin Suella Braverman as the Home Secretary. Remember, she was forced to resign earlier this month for accidentally emailing classified government documents outside the department. Here's a look at some of the highlights of Prime Minister Sunak's first day in the Parliament.
To resign last week for a breach of security.
Prime Minister! Well, Mr. Speaker, can I thank the honourable gentleman for his kind and indeed generous welcome to the dispatch box. I look forward to Prime Minister's question time with him, and I know that we will have, no doubt, robust exchanges, but I hope that they can also be serious and grown up. So I look forward to it. Well, he asked about the Home Secretary. The Home Secretary made an error of judgment, but she recognised that. She raised the matter and she accepted her mistake. And that's why I was delighted to welcome back into a united cabinet that brings experience and stability to the heart of government. And let me tell you, Mr. Speaker, what the Home Secretary will be focused on. She'll be focused on cracking down on criminals, on defending our borders, while the party opposite remains soft on crime and in favour of unlimited immigration.